You're now watching Colorado State University's student-run campus television, Channel 25, weeknights from 8 to midnight.
For Wednesday, February 4th, 2004, this is CTV Talk.
A new student organization on campus is making headlines statewide. Do professors have too much political influence? Welcome to this edition of CTV Talk. I'm Addie Knowlton.
And I'm Andrea Kuning. The topic surrounding Colorado recently has been the talk of a relatively new organization, SAF, or Students for Academic Freedom. Much has been made of this organization, and we'll be discussing the proposed academic bill for rights shortly.
Also, in a prepared statement made today, Donald Rumsfeld said he was confident that pre-war intelligence, while possibly flawed in some respects, was not manipulated by the administration to justify its war aims. President Bush said Monday he would appoint a presidential commission to review U.S. intelligence on the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
We have a panel to discuss these issues in depth as CTV continues.
From Colorado State University, you're watching CTV Talk with Addie Knowlton and Andrea Kuning.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Work, play, home, away. Millions of people riding every single day.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Monday to the park, Wednesday to the pool. Every other Friday volunteering at the school.
Transform, wherever life takes you.
Tired of the same old living arrangements? Then check out Rams Point. With more amenities than any of the competition, Rams Point is your one-stop location for a fun college living experience. Individual leases are currently available. Check out Rams Point, a student apartment community.
Students making 11,000 bike trips a day. Bicycle safety is important on the CSU campus. CSU bike patrol officers work to maintain safety and regulate bicycle traffic. They need your help. Obey all posted signs. Make sure you have a light on your bike at night. Walk your bike in dismount zones. Yield to pedestrians at all times. By doing these things, you will be maintaining bicycle safety at CSU. For more information, call 491-6425.
Welcome back to CTV Talk. Today we're joined by Bill Chalupa, chairman of Colorado State University's Political Science Department. So Professor Chalupa, we visited in depth last semester about political biases among professors here at CSU. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the policies that the Political Science Department uses?
Addie, first, thanks for inviting me. Political science, the Political Science Department, like every department on the campus, functions under the larger code for the university. It's accessible from several places on the website and describes a whole process that students can go through to protest a grade, protest treatment, complain about how they feel they're being treated in the classroom or elsewhere. It's a regular part of our job. I'm chair of the department. It's the job that I expect to do, and that's true of every chair. We've got processes in place. The students are talking with faculty members all the time about the grades. Was it calculated right, or perhaps, tell me why you graded it this way. I don't understand. That happens all the time. In fact, just before I came to the studio today, I was signing grade change forms. I do that every day as students and faculty talk about their grades. If the student and the faculty member don't agree, or if the student is uncomfortable approaching the faculty member, they need to go to the chair of the department, and the chair will ask them if they've talked to the faculty member, and perhaps ask if they haven't, ask why they feel uncomfortable. There's a whole process. It's in the university code. It's set out to describe what happens if a grade is appealed. And frankly, in our department, and I think this is probably true of most departments, most of those appeals get settled between the faculty member and the student. I've seen very few in my year and a half on campus.
Okay, how many appeals? Yeah, I was just going to ask, how many do you see? And do you think this will increase? The new news about this will increase any of the complaints?
Well, it might, and whenever I say that I don't see very many, I sort of expect them all to show up the next day. But the fact of the matter is, I sign dozens of grade change forms every semester. I don't keep count, but lots. And I get one or two inquiries from a student directly of me about a grade, and probably half of those I get the student connected up with a faculty member and they solve it. I've been on campus now for a year and a half, and I've yet to have a formal appeal go to the level of forming an appeal committee and having the hearing.
Okay.
So it's pretty rare.
Let me ask you this. I know that maybe professors in the political science department are more aware of this issue, so they handle themselves a little differently than a professor, say, in another department, some department that may not be as up to date with current political issues around campus. Do you think that they are offering their opinion unjustly in the classroom?
I think this is in the courses where it matters. In courses where you're talking about politics or you're talking about sensitive issues, and there are lots of sensitive issues that we talk about on campus besides politics. I think in those courses, in those departments, faculty members know from a very early age that this is sensitive, that they've got to be careful. That's not a reason to avoid these subject matters. We still want to teach about the political system, for example, but I think we learn early on that there's some care. You have to pay attention. You have to know when students might be offended. When somebody mentions something to you, you have to hear them and be right there and talk to them. Are there faculty members who don't do that very well? I'm sure there are, and I don't think there are any in my department. I think we pay, as you say. I think we've been in the spotlight a bit, and I think we're paying attention. I think CSU across the board has just a terrific faculty, and that's part of what being a good faculty member is.
So say hypothetically that there are some faculty members that are not as well equipped at handling it, and they are interjecting their opinions, and they are in the wrong if they're doing that in the classroom without reason. Do you think the proposed bill will solve that, or is there a different way to handle that?
I really don't think the bill that's in the hopper now is going to help very much. And the university code already has a legal status, and we know if people violate it, they get in very well-defined trouble. The bill that's currently at the legislature is a resolution, and it really is, gosh, this would be a nice idea. Well, believe me, the university campuses know that the scrutiny is on for these issues, and we're paying attention. And any appeal that would reach my office would get very careful attention. So I don't need a resolution to tell me that I better be there if that issue hits my office.
Okay. Do you think that the Students for Academic Freedom, the group, has the right or are on the right track for being concerned about the issues that they are and handling it with a website where they can post grievances and such?
Well, there's I think you asked me two questions, Addie. Absolutely, they have the right, and that's what we're all committed to, free inquiry here. Whether it's a good idea or not, that's probably not for me to judge. And after all, I'm part of the department that they sometimes like to talk about. So. Oh gosh, I'll be honest with you. I'd love for the issue to go away. We ought to be talking about the university's budget and the state budget, the way the university gets funded. The legislature's meeting, and that's the issue. And I really do believe that, I hate to sound like a booster, but Coloradoans like Colorado State University and our whole system of public higher education. I'm really committed to it, and I think it's in danger, and it's not because of Democrats or Republicans on the faculty. It's because tuition is rising so rapidly and state funding is in some peril, and there's some structural things to take advantage of. So I hope in a future meeting you'll have somebody higher, or in a future show, you'll have somebody higher up in the administration than me come here and talk about that stuff.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
There you go. Well, just a programming suggestion.
Thanks for joining us, Professor.
Thank you, Eddie.
We'll be right back.
The Laurie Student Center is the place to be. It's the place for taking care of business, and the place to buy and sell textbooks. It's the place for staying connected, student organizations, leadership programs, and more, all right here. It's the place to eat. It's the place for entertainment. There's always something happening at the LSC. Movies, art exhibits, and special performances. Check it out online. The Laurie Student Center is definitely the place to be.
Call the Center for Drug and Alcohol Prevention and the Center for Health Promotion and quit gambling with your life.
It gets me to class.
It's all about efficiency.
We're going to the mall!
It's my second set of wheels.
Transport, wherever life takes you.
For local entertainment news you can take with you to class, pick up tomorrow's Rocky Mountain Collegian and check out The Dish.
Watching Emmy Award-winning campus television, winner of the 2003 Heartland Regional Emmy Award for Outstanding Student Achievement.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Jesself, feature reporter for CTV Talk. We're out here on this brisk February day right out in front of the Laurie Student Center trying to get some opinions on what fellow students think about how professors should be able to speak their minds on certain topics or whether that they should be designated to their areas of expertise. Let's go find out what some students have to say about that.
I haven't heard my professors say anything too strongly. They pretty much, from what I've experienced so far at CSU, they give both sides and let the students decide for themselves.
I'm pretty open-minded. I just think that that's their opinion. They can think what they want. I'll choose my own opinions. I'm an opinionated person, so if they want to believe what they want to believe, it just helps me with something that I'm going to choose in my politics.
I think they should be able to talk about their personal beliefs, but I don't think that it should take up all of the curriculum. Like, if they mention it once or twice, it's not a big deal. I think it adds a little bit more to what they're telling you. It makes it a little more personal, and maybe you remember it better. But I think if it becomes overwhelming, then you're not necessarily learning things that you should.
Right. Have you ever been offended?
All right, thank you, Jeremy, for that report. If you are just joining us, we are continuing our discussion about the Academic Bill of Rights. I am joined here by Christopher Ortiz, a student columnist for the Rocky Mountain Collegian, JT Davis, and Rob Novak. All right, to start off, guys, I think I'd like to talk a little bit about your positions on the bill that's trying to be passed. I don't know, let's get maybe Chris some of your feelings about, what's trying to be proposed.
The proposed bill, I am not in favor of it because it doesn't really offer any more protection than students have right now through university policies and state policies. The language of the bill is too vague in what professors can and cannot talk about. Our departments here, especially the political science department, are accredited nationally, and they know they can lose their accreditation if they have professors that are bringing up inappropriate conversations or subjects in their classes, or they're grading subjectively. So the bill, I think it's a bill that's only going to hurt students and limit the discussion of topics in classrooms.
Mm-hmm. And Rob, maybe some of your thoughts? They differ?
They don't really differ. I'm not in favor of the bill either. From what I've understood of the bill, it focuses on getting a balance between Republican and Democrat teachers in the departments, and that doesn't make much sense to me. I don't think that a professor's political orientation should matter, and also this may come as a surprise to some people, but there's more than 2 political parties in the country, and if we're going to go for a fair and balanced view, I think we would have to include Libertarians and Constitution Party, Natural Law Party members, and Green Party members as well, in addition to all the rest of the political parties that are out there.
That's a good point.
I'm kind of differing on it. Like I agree we definitely need something. The bill, in my view, I'm not too keen on right now since it's still pretty new. But I feel that as long as we have fair and balance, if a professor's they're obviously they have the right to their opinion. Yet, we as students are paying their salary. We have to have a thing. Well, there's some professors that political science is my minor, but I haven't really seen it there. It's with other classes. There's some professors I think that are so far to the left that they'll sit there and they'll stick their opinion in there. Last year I had it where a girl in class, she sat there and thrashed on our country, our president stuff for about 10 minutes. As soon as I tried to intervene with my opinion, the teacher cut me off and said we're not discussing this, it's off the topic. As long as there's fair and balance, I don't think that there needs to be new legislature passed, but maybe implement the present that we have.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important. I think they're trying to gain more equality between teachers and students, but do you think in reality that maybe teachers will feel pressurized and that maybe they won't?
Completely. This is taken out of the hands of the university of what is being taught here and being put in the hands of our state government, and I think that's kind of inappropriate. I think the university is more than capable of handling these kind of problems. Also, I don't think it is too fair because the wording and even the sponsors are all Republicans. I haven't seen any liberals or Democrats, or whatever label you want to put, supporting the bill. In my opinion, to be frank, I think it's a bill supporting and protecting conservative students, and not actually protecting students in general.
Right. Have you been in a situation in a class where you've ever felt like you've been discriminated against? Where
I've never been in that situation. No, I don't think I've ever had a teacher that brought their views that much into class. or I don't think of teachers that I've had have introduced topics that are that far off topic where I felt that I wasn't getting my money's worth, say, in the class because I was in a plant biology class and the teacher talked about plant biology. I haven't had classes that the teachers have gotten away from the subject matter too much.
And I know that a lot of people in political science and classes like that have felt that when a teacher is so, the opposite. But I don't know how this bill will change anything. Do you feel like it would change anything, or in the classroom setting, or do you think that?
I definitely think it would change things. I think teachers would be afraid to teach.
It's going to intimidate them.
Exactly.
About what they can teach, what subjects they can bring into the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's almost, borderline. You gotta think about regulating what people can learn. Mm-hmm. That's fascist. Yeah. Flat out. And
limiting what anything can go on. In a democracy, you're supposed to grow and be able to be free to learn and go beyond what just someone tells you. So that's important also. Also, what do you think about I'm blanking out here. Okay, and I think this is a good time to change the subject now and discuss the recent news pertaining to the search for weapons of mass destruction. President Bush called for an independent probe of the apparent intelligence failure. His announcement came this Monday after a reporter asked whether Americans were owed an explanation about the intelligence failure before the election. So, I don't know if we can start with some discussion about this.
Well, I think it's a little too much too late. I think this probe should have gone into it before we committed our troops and money into it. And I think it's very yellow belly to have the results come in after the elections. Bush is doing a lot to protect his campaign. Coming up, he has raised over $140 million, and he's going to protect that by releasing the results afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any take on this?
On the intelligence failure, I think it's fairly imperialistic to think that we can go into a different country and without proof to back up what we're doing, and then say, "Oops, sorry," later. And when we seem to be spending more time talking about the fact that somebody might have seen a boob at the Super Bowl, and we're spending more time investigating that than whether or not there was any real cause to go into Iraq.
Do you think this will have any implications on his upcoming elections, or I don't know, JT? I don't know if you have any.
Personally, I see George Bush get reelected. He's done so much to protect this country. 9/11. I still think Saddam Hussein inadvertently, directly or indirectly, had something to do with that. We still don't know if there's weapons over there. He had 10 years. Back during Clinton in 1998, they talked. The Intelligence Committee sent him saying Saddam Hussein's, seeking weapons of mass destruction, looking to, build them. So I think Bush took the necessary steps to do what we need to do. We don't know, he could have hit him. They could have been other countries. Saddam Hussein was a, ruthless man, but he was a smart guy. He killed, 500,000 of his own people. I think himself, he was a weapon of mass destruction, and I think it's better off that he's gone. I think the world is safer off. And I don't think Bush is looking to actually, protect his campaign. I think he's taking the necessary but tough steps to do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Just go ahead.
Well, I think my issue with the fact that, there were weapons of mass destruction there, but you got to think about where they got those. They bought them from companies in the U.S. They got them from companies from the U.S. government. We sold them weapons. And then 20 years later, we're going to turn around and say, hey, you've got weapons, man. That's not good, So, Saddam is an evil man. I'm not going to go against that, but you can't necessarily support somebody in one action and then 20 years later turn around and say, whoop, nope, sorry, we can't use those weapons we gave you, and that kind of thing. That seems inconsistent to me.
Right. Well, I know we didn't. I doubt we provide him with chemical and biological weapons. We did fund him, put him into power, but our country's not perfect. We've made mistakes, but I think the stuff that he's done, and who knows if he had the opportunity, he could have somehow attempted to threaten our freedom. He hated our country. He invaded Kuwait. He tried to kill senior President Bush.
Sure, and I think you're hitting on some important things there that he could have, and it's not necessarily he would have. And you're right, when they invaded Kuwait, that was a preemptive strike. They weren't provoked. What we did was a preemptive strike. So it's kind of hard to say either of us are wrong in that respect because we both did the same thing.
What I look at is instead of what happened after 9/11, saying the what ifs, but if that had happened, people are gonna say, oh, Bush is a coward, Bush is this, Bush is that, Bush, didn't, take the necessary steps to keep it safe. What I'm saying is, I think, as he said, in his State of the Union and all that we need to take an active approach and, take care of that before it happens again to us.
Just like Iraq did with Kuwait. It's the same thing. It's a unilateral preemptive strike. I don't see much of a difference.
But they went in just strictly to conquer in Kuwait. I'm saying we got hit on 9/11. We don't want that to happen again.
Right. So what was the proof that Iraq had anything to do with 9/11?
I mean, I've got a picture here that cousin sent me. If you want to see this. Plus, I just Saddam hated us. Who knows? I still don't buy that he had nothing to do with it. I mean, this was pulled out of one of his palaces in Baghdad.
All right. Well, you can show them too, but I'm not saying that Saddam wouldn't have been happy with it, but Iraq wasn't a non-secular country. I believe that Osama bin Laden had a lot to do with 9/11. I think that Al-Qaeda prompted it, funded it, carried it out. The thing is, though, Iraq has more than one religion. They're not strictly a Muslim country. Osama bin Laden isn't going to go for things like that. He's not going to ally himself with people that allow synagogues and Christians to come into the country and teach their religions. They are fundamentalist Muslims. They don't accept any other beliefs. So being that they both hate America, but it's kind of hard to believe that they would have worked together in any sense.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll be right back to wrap things up in just a few minutes.
Agent Classifieds, how may I help you?
Place it, find it, buy it, sell it, rent it. All this and more with the Rocky Mountain Collegian Classifieds, as low as $4.50 a day. Call 491-1686, 491-1686.
Campus service officers are the eyes and ears of the CSU Police Department. They provide safe walks to all students and are available 7 days a week. To request a safe walk, pick up an emergency phone on campus, call the Safe Walk line, or simply ask a CSO on duty. CSOs patrol and provide walks from Constitution to Matthews Street and Prospect to Mulberry Street. To be safely escorted to your destination, call 491-1155.
One radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Zero commercials.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
90.5 KCSU.
90.5.
This is your student-run radio.
It is your student-run radio station.
On your FM dial. Run by students, for students. It's 90.5 KCSU.
We would like to thank Chris, JT, and Rob for joining us this evening.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to be a guest on our show, please email us at ctvtalktome@hotmail.com.
And thank you for watching CTV Talk. Make sure you watch tomorrow night to catch CTV News. Good night.
Sports and entertainment. You're watching Campus Television, Channel 25, weeknights from 8 to midnight.